Here in John King's North Vancouver basement recording studio, my Indole ring is cranking up some new material.
The road is long.
But to be gigging with it soon, but then again, they all still have their day jobs. David Jordan Knox here is the president of Jordan's Furniture. John King here has his own multimedia business. And Chris Dahl is an art director. So the day job thing just might get in the way of fame and fortune in the music industry. It happened once before.
From Vancouver, let's go to the Retinal Circus, the West Coast home of psychedelic sound.
Now I know what you're going to ask. What's with the hair? Well, in another life and live on television, my Indole Ring was one of the hottest bands in Vancouver. They played everywhere and eventually got up enough original material for an album. But that didn't happen.
There was the thought that maybe one member would break off for a couple of months and travel to Europe, and then, you know, once you do that, it's just like going to school, right? If you decide I'll take a year off and maybe come back and finish off, but often doesn't happen.
And so it didn't happen, even with all this material. It just moldered away in the drawer for 35 years until a German record producer got a hold of the video you're watching now. He freaked out. And now, 35 years after it was recorded, and a few weird smirks of fate, my Indole Ring can now be found on your record store shelves. And how's it selling? Like at a Grateful Dead concert. Robert Frith's Neptune Records in Vancouver specializes in this type of music. He says my Indole Ring really was a good band.
Well, of all the different Canadian garage psychedelic bands that there is, and there's a lot of them, they're all really collectible. And lots of them go for like in the thousands and hundreds of dollars, and they're really sought after in Europe. But of all the stuff I've heard, this is probably one of the best albums I've heard from that time period. It's just unbelievable.
More than anything else, though, the album is a snapshot of the early rock scene in Vancouver.
None of us worked. We would get up at noon and play music practice and go play a gig that night and go to parties. And there meet these incredible musicians. Go into the changing room. There's Muddy Waters reading the paper. It was like a job for him, and we're just sitting there. We can't believe this guy's there. Yeah. We met the Doors, all those bands.
Yeah, Country Joe and the Fish, the Animals.
They used to sleep at our house, Country Joe and the Fish.
Peter Clemente, CKVU News, back in the 60s.